As you can see, it's that time of year again. Kind of put together a little video for you. We got the fake fireplace on the TV because I haven't had the time to do the real one, which is right behind me. But we got the tree up and we got some things underneath. Very thankful for all that we do have. I wanted to take a moment and say thank you for all the subscribers. I really appreciate it. Hit 3,000 this year. That's a pretty big milestone, and the content, I haven't been able to get much out. I'm sorry, but it's just going to have to be a hobby. I'm not able to stick to a schedule, anything like that, because I've been taking care of a lot. It's just going to have to be how it is. If you feel the need to unsubscribe, go ahead. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I get it. I understand. But this year has been not the greatest. Very unexpectedly, my aunt passed away and had to go to Eastern Washington twice, once for the memorial and to kind of see what we had to work with, and then go back a second time, and I drove a 26-foot box truck and had to load everything up with my mother and my other aunt and get everything brought back to Western Washington because we were the closest family. My wife's grandmother passed away. Also, my sister-in-law passed away day before her 33rd birthday. A friend of mine who has been married for 58 years, his wife passed away earlier as well. And so, kind of for a Christmas present for him, he's a avid collector and he has a lot of interesting things. He's been in the electronics field all of his life. He's 86 now, and he's been looking for a calculator watch like this one that you will see here in a little bit for quite a long time. I was able to obtain one, and we have a little fun with it. But I was going to take you along on the ride over to his house and look at some of his collection. It's pretty extensive. Kind of prank him into thinking he's getting an answering machine, but instead he's getting this watch, HP 01, around 1977. And so hopefully that'll make his year a little bit brighter, because it's not been the most fun for him. So with that said, let's get into it. So here is the HP 01 watch in the box. There's what's inside the box. And as we open it up, there is the HP 01 itself. Well, here's the 89 Buick LeSabre. We got the wreath on the front of it, so it's the official Christmas cruiser. Yeah, it's still kind of like it always has been. Very reliable. Paint's getting worse for the wear, but what do you want? Interior-wise, still pretty good. Comfortable car to drive. We're sitting at 454,211 miles. And under the hood, the old 3800 motor still ticking away, just as it always has. Well, here we are in the Buick. Gonna see about taking Walt a little bit of Christmas cheer here. So right, and we're off. You know, this car drives pretty dang good for the miles. I'm really impressed with the Buick 3800 and just the overall build of this car. Really quite good. Yeah, getting on the highway here. The old 3800 still got it. Well, you know, it's not a white Christmas, that's for sure, but temperatures are actually pretty mild. They're in the 50s, so I can't complain about that. It's almost like a early spring day, if you will. Hello, Walt.
Hello there. What you got? Bringing,
I'll bring you a little bit of Christmas cheer.
Oh, well, thank you, thank you.
So how long have you been in the electronics industry?
Since I was a small baby, I think. I was about probably 4 or 5 when my dad started teaching me how to use a vacuum tube.
Well, we're going to check out a few things that Walt's got, and we'll be right back with you. What got you into collecting calculators?
I won first prize at a engineering contest for a comic strip. And I didn't even know, they didn't even know, all they said it was a $400 calculator made by Hewlett Packard. They didn't have even the number yet. And I thought I had a chance maybe winning something, and the HP 35. And that was 1973.
You started...
I started seeing them at garage sales.
Well, how many calculators do you own, approximately?
There's 1,000 showing.
World's largest calculator collection?
No. There's another group, and I don't know what they have, but they did a book, 2 guys down in L.A., and they sounded like they really went at it. And I mentioned in that, in the acknowledgments, because I had some they didn't have. So I gave them information and pictures on those.
Now, you collect more than calculators, correct? Now, behind me there's cameras, slide viewers, model cars. Is this something that just started, if you liked it, you collected it?
Pretty much. All of a sudden they start coming on. I get more than a couple of something.
Yeah.
Like I've got one typewriter that was given to my dad as a World War I war correspondent that used it, and I got it then and restored it. And then a friend of mine gave me another 3-row. It's a 3-row, which is really odd. And I thought, this could start something, but it hasn't yet. Other than that, radios, of course, since I was in electronics, and TVs, all kinds of records, LPs, 45s. I got 6,000, 45, 7,000 LPs approximately in 2078. Something my mother was sold Avon, and so that all of a sudden I had a bunch of those.
You got the Avon,
and my sister ended up giving me a bunch more, so they're in the windows and whatever, and that kind of stopped that collection. I think because I've run out of room. That's the problem with some of this. I've run out of room for it. I have small computers type of thing, early ones. But I stayed pretty much with small type of stuff. Slide rules. Just something would hit me, and I'd get enough of them, and I think, why not?
Right. Okay. Would you say your collection is fairly complete? Are you
pretty much? Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't. Once in a while, somebody will call me and say, "Oh, I found this calculator. Do you have it?" And I said, "Yeah, I already have one of those."
What is the holy grail of calculators that you don't have that you're looking for?
HP01, the wristwatch calculator.
Wristwatch calculator.
Yeah, I have some wristwatch calculators that are in here, but not the. I got quite a few HP stuff. A lot of Hewlett Packard.
But not an HP01 yet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to about pay something for it because they're on eBay. I suspect it's some ungodly amount of money.
Oh, yeah, I know,
But I never know.
you never know. You
Yeah.
never know. Huh. And this is just one room of the house. I mean, most of the collection is here, but it's kind of spread over.
Yeah,
and,
this used to be a bedroom, but it will never go
well,
back
it's
to
a bedroom for calculators and LPs and anything like that. And I think they multiply at night.
that. Very much so. You bet. And everything here is on glass. All four sides of the room. So that you can look through the things, where if they've been a wood shelf or something,
Yeah.
you'd have a hard time seeing.
Oh, sure, yeah, look straight up.
So I've got 900 pounds of glass shelving that someone gave me, and that I put it to work
When we went through the earthquake
twice.
twice, how did things fare in here?
Quite well. Yeah, one of the earthquakes I was in here, and obviously I should have grabbed a doorway, but I just stood there and watched it. And a number of things came down. They did a evening magazine on me, and the guy kidded me. He says, "Well, how often do you and how do you clean your dust your calculators?" I said, "Well, every time after an earthquake."
And you see there's a write-up on him in the newspaper. You know, if you're not the world's largest calculator collection, you got to be, top 5.
Yeah, probably it's a possibility. Yeah. And the last two shelves, after the first earthquake, they weren't there. And the picture here, you can see there's a picture of a mountain that's now hanging over there. And I ended up putting up, while I was taking everything and putting them back in place, I added 2 more shelves. So this is a 12-foot ceiling, and so I've got like 15 shelves. And the last shelf is just barely enough so you can just put them in lengthwise.
See a lot of cameras here.
Yeah, those I haven't counted.
Cameras. You kind of got a little bit of everything, you know.
Yeah, below the cameras are the games, and then the slide rules, and then the computers, pretty much.
There's your clock down there.
Yeah, that one I made in 1965. There was no such thing as a electronic digital clock.
And it's still ticking.
And it's still running.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And this is the transistor radios.
So, yeah, almost all transistor and tube types from the 30s on. And kind of in areas like I was a Zenith dealer, so there's the Zenith shelf. Everything is, if they have enough of like GE or RCA, I would have a shelf for those, so I know where they're at. And microphones, you can see a bunch of microphones, another kind of a sideline thing that I collect a bit.
You a little bit of a Trekkie fan?
A little bit, yeah. Mainly early kind of thing, though I have the suit for the Picard that without my glasses, somebody says I look kind of like him. and I got one from the movie kind of thing. And he sent me a nice signed picture, so he knows me. Probably if he ever wants a stand-in.
He knows you.
Yeah.
I see a lot of test equipment behind
Yes.
you.
Yeah, mostly vintage. From the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Wow.
That I still use.
Absolutely incredible.
And you can just kind of get a peek at my 45s, and the 78s are all in the albums.
Goodness. What a wonderful collection.
And I got tired of looking at popcorn ceilings, so you can see what I did there.
You've got some cars.
Yes, a bunch of them.
Uh-huh. Now you've owned some pretty exotic cars too, haven't you?
Yes, 3 of them. First one was the NSU Spider. First car to have the rotary engine. It's a prototype, and because I was an engineer, and with a last name that was sounded very German, even though I'm not, I got picked to buy one. And from then, I had it for 9 years, and they took care of everything on it, no matter what it was, except for gas and oil. And I got a new engine after a couple of years because they wanted my original engine back. It smoked, and they said it would, and because it used a lot of oil through the carburetor to lubricate the seals, and had 50 horsepower. And so I got the next series engine, 64 horse, and it didn't smoke, and that lasted the rest of the years I had it. And I ended up selling it for the price of a business that I had for 10 years, and then I retired.
Wow.
And that was a Bertone body on it, really nice looking roadster. I had one of the 2 hard tops in the United States that fit it. And the second one, before that, that's right, before that was the Town Chopper. They only made one, which I didn't know that. I knew it was very rare. And I ended up repairing it, and finally I got a call from a museum in the East Coast that asked me, he says, "Are you the guy that you have the Town Chopper?" And I said, "Yeah, I have the Town Chopper." Found out they only made one, and the company went under. This is 1948, and I finally found through a friend where it was, and they wanted to just give it to me because it wasn't running. So I got it running and ended up giving it to the museum. And the other one was a Bianchina. It's a Fiat 500 with a custom body. And so those are the 3 that were pretty rare. I've never had seen the other 2. Of course, I didn't see the first one anywhere, other than I think it's in restoration right now on the internet. And the other 2, I never saw one on the road before, during, or after. They were that rare.
You work pretty much constantly, don't you, on a project all the time?
Yeah. I started the free store 20 years ago, and so things continually come through there that sometimes don't work.
A free store, that's kind of take something, leave something place, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And it's been running just fine. In fact, this morning I went there. I thought I would just quickly take a look, and I was there for an hour. Once I open it, people come and they just appear out of the woodwork, I guess. And I said, "Oh, are you opening?" I said, "No, I'm just putting stuff in where we had a sign that says, 'Do not put it here.' And, if the free store is not open, don't leave it." They leave it. And so I go by once a day and get the key and put the stuff in, open it up, and people appear and say, "Oh, can I donate this? Can I take a look?" kind of thing. And I say, "Sure." And so that it's worked out really well.
And that keeps you, you stay very busy and active, and because you still bike, correct?
And I still bike, yeah. I've biked since I was 9 when I had my first business, or my first job. I worked in a lunchroom when I was 9 years old. Like I said, now you got the child labor laws. I got paid $1 a month, a silver dollar. This is in Idaho. And all I could eat. And every week or every month I'd have to go up and to the principal and get my dollar. And he'd always say, "Lost money on you again." kind of thing. So I ate really well during those years that I had that. And the next year I was 10, and I got a job at the Western Auto Store, and at 25 cents an hour. And I was able to commute by bicycle. Even during the winter, I did have to put chains on. I had to make chains on the bike so I could get through the snow and ice. And from then on, I thought, no matter where I work or have a business, I'm going to be able to commute by bike. So I did that for until I was 45 when I retired.
You retired in '83.
Yes.
Uh huh. And so you are 86 now, correct?
Yes, I'd be 87 in the early part of January.
Well, well, that's good that you keep busy. And
Yeah, that's the secret, is staying busy and to bike. People keep saying, "Are you still biking?" And I said, "That's why I keep biking." Yeah, if I can't bike anymore, or play music, or work on electronic stuff, it's time to take me out.
You know, the last 5 years or so has not been the greatest for you. You've had some loss with your son, and then your wife passed earlier this year. Correct? How long were you and her married?
58 years.
58 years. Goodness.
I figured I was probably going to go first because I was older, and she took good care of herself. She was a nurse, and I just figured that it would it wouldn't happen. That I would just keep going.
Well, you know, you're a true testament on you know, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will go far, and do what you love.
Yeah, and do what you love. That's the key. Oh my gosh.
Well, we're gonna head downstairs and see some televisions and do a little wrap up. So we'll see you downstairs. So here we've got some televisions that Walt has.
From the 1940s.
1940s. Now, how'd you come across most of these?
Working at a TV place, and somebody brings one in, and they don't want to have it fixed. Every once in a while somebody would see one. I'd had kind of a half museum in my last business, and so they would say, "Oh I think my aunt has one like that. Would you like to have that, like a 3-inch Pilot?" That's a 1946, and they all still work. So I've been able to restore them, and this one was the first one I got. I gave them $5 trade-in on a radio, and when my future brother-in-law happened to have a picture tube for it, had a bad picture tube, and I took that in the Navy, all around the world kind of thing, and changed the frequencies on it so I could watch something that was no other TV could unless you had from that country. And so they just keep coming along. And I like the small ones, 3 to 8 inch. Was basically what I collected.
And you got a Helicrafters over here.
And that has channel 1, which never came on. If you ever wondered why it starts at channel 2, they were going to use channel 1, but it got used during the war.
We got
and the magnifier on.
yeah,
Yeah,
magnifier.
There's Bridget. You see the cat right down there?
Oh yeah.
That cat disappears at all times.
There's a.
Hey, and this set kind of is against all what I was collecting. I collected 3 to 8 inch table models from the 40s. This one was one of the sets at the 1939 World's Fair, and it's a 12-inch, and it's not a small portable, but it's the holy grail of collecting. This theoretically is the only one left. They had the ones they used for the fair. It has a video chassis in it because it was nothing being shown on television in 39 and 40, 41. It was a 2-year fair. And so, except once in a while they'd show a baseball game or FDR would get on, the president. Other than that, they basically would show somebody else in another line of another one of the sets. That was pretty much it. So that definitely, it has 2 extra chassis in it because they also went to FM radio for the audio. And this it was at Salt Lake.
And somewhere along the line, after the war, it was obsolete basically for its size, and TVs were available. And so what they did is they gave out these World Fair sets to radio stations that would go to television. And this one was in Salt Lake, and they told the guy, take it to the dump. And then I found out eventually that they told that to all of the places that had the World's Fair sets, take them to the dump. And he just kept on driving, and he put it in his basement. He didn't know what to do with it, but it stayed there until he had to move. And then he knew a friend that 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 tapped me on the shoulder and said, I know somebody that knows somebody, that kind of thing, of this World's Fair TV. And so I ended up with correspondence by letter for about a year. And finally, he had to move. And so it ended up in the next guy's basement. And he said, you got 2 weeks to pick it up. Steve says you can have it for nothing. And so I had to figure out how to tell my wife what I'm thinking about getting. And I said, we've always talked about a second honeymoon because I lived in Idaho, north of Salt Lake. And we'd go up and look at the homestead type of thing, and then we'd wander through Salt Lake, and I got a friend I want to see here, and luckily his wife was a nurse. My wife was also a nurse. And so they were busy chatting, and 4 of us were hustling this thing up. It weighs about 200 pounds, up the stairs from the basement, and stuffed into a little 2-door Toyota Corolla station wagon that barely fit with all the seats down. I had to leave my son in Reno at my sister's because we were running out of room, and I knew that this would be a problem. And got the set and got the thing running finally, and showed it very shortly after I got it. This is probably 1972. I bought my last business, and I was a Zenith dealer. I've been with Zenith since the 50s, one way or another. And I was a franchise dealer. And this is an RCA, which is direct competition to Zenith. And so my Zenith guys hated this thing being there in my business. The business was kind of half museum because of the amount of stuff I was collecting. It was a good place to show them. And then people would say, oh, I've got something like that, or you want this kind of thing? And I'd put it up on the shelves kind of thing. And so this thing sat next to my counter. And probably a couple of months after I had moved, the RCA found out that I had the set. They didn't have one in their museum. And so this vice president of RCA came in and dropped his card on my thing and said, we're here to procure this for our museum. And I said, you could kidnap my wife and children, but you're not getting the set. And he finally gave up and left. And a few months later, a 53 Corvette with a vanity plate, in case you might not have thought it might have been a 54 or 55, pulled up right in front of my business. And I'm looking out, and I thought, you got to be kidding. Who would be driving a 53 Corvette near my business? And this guy came out, and he came in and looked around. I said, oh, gosh, this is quite a museum here. And he looked over, put his checkbook down on the counter, put a 1. Says, how many zeros? And I says, it's not for sale. And he says, everything has a price. And I said, maybe so, but RCA's been here, and I doubt if you're anywhere near as big as RCA. So that's the deal. And he took some pictures and left. So I still have the set.
2024, you still own it.
Yeah, and so I moved up finally here to Washington, and moved to Olympia in '88, and '89 was asked by the Washington Fair, could I show my televisions? So I took 16 of them up there and ran 4 at a time for 17 days, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, I think, before they finally shut it down. And they thought I was just going to show them, that I was just going to put them in there. They made a glassed-in booths kind of thing, so it was all security. They were going to have night security people, etc. I said, no, I'm going to be here from the start as you open till the time you close for 17 days. And I'm going to run 4 at a time. And so I'd run 4, and then I would shift over to 4, and I had a bunch of stuff on VCR to from early's type of stuff to whatever. And I think 3 of my sets, this one kept running. 3 finally quit or started doing funny things. So they gave me a workbench next to my exhibit, and I would take it all apart, and then the next day I'd bring on the parts for it and get it all running again, and they'd see the chassis with the picture tube and everything. I'd put it all back together again and put it back up on into the display. So
Wow.
that was a fun 17 days.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and you kept it in beautiful condition.
Yeah, it's in really good shape. I haven't restored I haven't had to do any restoration on the cabinet or anything. Basically, come about Christmas time, I'm going to put the manger scene on here. So that once a year it does that, and this is cantilevered so that depending on where you're sitting or standing, you can see the picture on the mirror.
And the picture tube is face up.
Yes, yeah, it's 3 feet long. So they couldn't put it out the back like you see, some of the older sets you'd see.
And then it reflects in the mirror.
Yes, and so it's reversed here, of course, so that in the mirror it looks correct.
Boy.
And the only ad they ever used with this set is right here, and this is for the LaSalle, the small Cadillac. Probably 1940, 41 type of thing. And RCA never used it in their advertisements ever, for some reason. Now what do we have here?
Well, on behalf of the channel, we've got it's time
gosh.
for holiday fun. It's a Cookies for Santa kit, and it was Best Buy October of 2015. So it's vintage. You can collect it.
I don't have to make the cookies.
I would probably advise against it. So
that is so cool.
that's Merry Christmas, and actually give me that because we got something better for you.
Have we now?
We do.
Even better?
Even better. And you got a 7-inch TV up there in the corner?
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's one that's really hard to find because they were used a lot for antenna work. They would take it up on the roof because it had a handle on it. And then they would cut the speaker area out and put a meter in it. So almost all of them got ruined in some form, either fell off of roofs or whatever. This one is pretty cherry.
Well, I like your Christmas tree there. Now, you built that, correct?
Yes, it's been kind of a work in progress. Every once in a while I'd run into another set of lights and end up putting lithium-ion batteries. And I got one that I think it was a year or so ago, I added the blue tinsel thing. So that's running on a separate one. I forgot to charge it up since last year, and it's still running.
Well, Walt, I know it's been kind of a crummy year in some aspects, so we wanted to give you a little something here.
Oh my goodness! And you want me to open it now?
I want you to open it now.
Oh, okay. This will not explode or anything, right?
Oh, that's right. I need to set the timer.
No, thank goodness for that. I used to be really careful taking out wrapping paper because I figured I could use it again. But
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. For some reason.
Now, what is that?
An answering machine, huh?
When I call you, you don't have a voicemail set up.
No, I don't. Do I need a voicemail?
Well, you need that, and you can run this on your landline.
Well, the last time I had one of these on a landline back in the 70s, I created what they called a telling machine. I did not like to answer an answering machine, I realized, really fast. And luckily it had 2 cassettes. So you could plug one in and it would say, I'm not open at this time, or my hours are so-and-so, or I'm on vacation, I'm out to lunch, I'm out on a call, whatever type of thing. So I just plug in those cassettes as needed. And I never plugged in the one that says at the tone, leave your message. That didn't happen.
Wait, now you don't have a landline anymore, do you?
No, I do not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Maybe you could hook it back up again.
Well, we could get a voice over IP with an analog adapter and then forward the cell phone to that, and then this could work.
But it just might, huh?
And show the camera what you got here. Oh, well, take it out of the box.
Sure.
Let's
Yeah,
check
there
out-
really is. Yeah, this is what I'm afraid of. It'll be some sack of dog stuff. Knowing you.
There we go. Let's see the answering machine. What we got here. Merry Christmas, Walt.
You're past surprising me. You know that? Look at that. The holy grail of calculators. And that was the last thing I thought would ever come out of this box. I was figuring it possibly was not what it was to be in the manual. Oh my. Do I have what how do I pay for this now?
It's taken care of.
I've got to find a place to put it now. Oh my God. Oh. You have out-surprised me completely. That was probably, if you mentioned 500 things that might be in there, this would have been the 501st maybe. Oh, this is so beautiful. You know, that's the funny part about collecting anything that runs. I've got computers. I've got an Altair that doesn't run because my brother-in-law gave it to me and he'd already gutted it and used it just for something else. He put it at a higher level because it was a 256 byte kind of thing. And I remember showing it to, because my son taught school for 20 years, and I would do dog and pony shows for him. And I would show these kids, I had this computer and it's got 256 byte. And they'd say, how many gigabyte? Byte. Megabyte? Byte. Do you understand that? And I got it finally, everything put back together again, but I don't have all the pieces because he put a bunch of stuff into it instead. But he'd left all the switches and all the LEDs, that was a panel, and I had to put them back into the front. They were all, there's 100 of these lights and 100 switches. And I had to get them all adjusted just right so they would fit through the little holes in the panel. And I finally did that, and I said, that's enough. I'm not going to go any further to try to get it to run, to show that it runs 256 byte or whatever. And the same with the radios and the television. The television I made an exception for the Washington Fair. And I found that was kind of fun to do. And I turned one on for the evening magazine and hooked up a VHS to it so that I could show how it ran. But it's just, once you get them running, why you do it? And so sometimes people would come back because they wanted to see the World's Fair set, including Bob Hope, which luckily was and I knew he was coming. He was on the stage right behind my exhibit. One of the entourage says, I hear you have something of Bob Hope's where he announced the first radio station on the West Coast or something, or first TV set. Yeah, I guess first TV station, probably 1946 or 47. And can you get that running and have it on the TVs? He's going to come by in about 10 minutes before he goes on stage. I said, sure. And so I did. I found it and kind of thing, got it set up. He comes in and he gets the call letters wrong. He doesn't know where the camera is. He's looking in the wrong direction. And Bob looks at me and says, I honestly do not remember doing this. And I said to him, Bob, if I were you, I wouldn't want to remember this either. And so it was just, certain things that I do, and then think, next year, 89, was the year I did it. So they called me in '90 and said, "We've got a lot of people wanting to see this again. Could you bring your sets up again?" I said, "You got to be kidding." I said, "I would kill for doing this once. I would never want to do it again."
Right.
It was really a lot of work to create 16 sets, including the World's
Oh,
Fair
my
set
goodness.
in the van with some help from my son and his buddy. And we did it kind of illegally because he was in the back of the van. I had got everything in it. And so he's holding on to the TV sets to make sure they don't move around with no seatbelt on, of course. And I just said, I almost got cabin fever toward the 17th day.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah. I started, every once in a while I put a sign, "I'm out for lunch," kind of thing.
Sure.
I'll be back and something. And, but I'm glad I got to do it.
Now, you installed a color television for Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple Black, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was working for a TV shop in Palo Alto, probably 54, 55, right in that area, late 54, probably. And we somehow got the job to sell the first RCA color set. We were an RCA Zenith dealer. And it was a 15-inch, I think something like $800 to $1,000 for this lousy 15-inch set. And had like 40-some tubes in it, and it came disassembled somewhat. We had to put the picture tube in and had to converge it and everything. It's a long process to get it going. And then we delivered it, this technician I worked with, I was in high school at the time, and to Shirley Temple Black. And after we got everything running, of course, we had test equipment to show the color bar
Right.
type of thing. And so once a week, RCA was running one color program. That was it for quite a while, because nobody was buying the sets. And so they're not going to run color until somebody buys the sets. And
Sure.
nobody's going to buy the sets until they run some color. And so Shirley Temple said to me, or to both of us actually, I guess, "Could you be here next Friday? There's going to be a color program on, and we'd like to have somebody here to adjust it in case, all this stuff." And this technician, brilliant technician, I learned a horrendous amount of stuff from him. Hated people. He was usually in the back room kind of thing, working on sets. Hated to go on service calls. And I was always the front person. I would say to the person that was at the house, "We're here to take care of the set." And he would run and barricade himself behind the set. And then I would look, I'd get the tube caddy open and I'd look at, it's a Philco horizontal problem, probably a 12AU7. So I'd take one out of the box. And he'd say, 12AU7. After about 2 more service calls, he says, "Why are you sending us out here? You just send him out, and if he can't fix it, he can call me or something
Right.
on the phone, and we'll fix it for him." So I ended up being the service person out for this thing. And so my friend says, "I'm not going to be the person." I said, "Well, I can do it. I don't mind," kind of thing. And so the boss says, "I'll give you double time for it because it's past your normal time."
Right.
So I said, "Sure, I'll do it, for anything for money. What the heck at that time?" And so we got it set up, and I thought it looked really good. I was impressed how well it did look
Yeah.
with the real picture. We said we hadn't seen a picture on one yet.
Uh-huh.
And so people were looking at it, and they said, "Well, gosh, it's really very, the hue isn't very high kind of thing, or it needs more color." Well, it's kind of standard, this is flesh tone kind
Right.
of thing. "Oh, crank it up, son, crank it up to red," kind of thing. "Oh, there, look at there, and the grass is so green you can't see straight," kind of thing. Everybody was happy. I didn't even have to be there.
Do you remember what program was playing?
No, I have no idea what it was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was some special type of thing. I think for a while they had specials. Then they would get a weekly program on. I can't remember what was running in color because nobody had color sets at that time.
Oh my God.
She was it for a long time.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't remember working on another color set. By that time, I went, got out of the high school and into the Navy, and
Yeah.
so it was interesting to see it running. But I
Right.
did it repeatedly. Every once in a while it'd be, "Oh my God, there's Bing Crosby," and I know this guy, this kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
wasn't an autograph hound or anything, but I just thought, I'm with a bunch of really high-level people here.
Right, absolutely.
Because she would just bring in all kinds of people for big, nobody had a color TV set.
Oh,
And it was a lousy 15-inch thing.
How times have changed.
Just, yeah. Look at what you can buy a 40-inch now for in that same price range.
Yeah.
And look at what, how much we're making now compared
Right.
to then.
Right.
$800 was a lot of money I was making $1.50 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And that was good money for a teenager.
I saw, I think it was 50 inch, 55 inch, somewhere in there, and they were like less than $250.
And everybody worries about, oh, this stuff keeps costing more and more. Some things don't.
Some things don't, yeah.
Yeah, look at what computers and calculators, how they've gone from certain amounts, kind of thing. Yeah.
The last new CRT television my parents got was a 27-inch Sylvania bought at Sears, and I think it was right under $200 or something like that.
Even with a picture tube.
With a picture tube, yeah, and that would have been, I think, right around 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed dramatically.
Dramatically.
Yeah, and I was glad I was, and if you're a Zenith dealer, you're going to fix the set.
Yeah.
You can't. Nobody else can sell Zenith. That was the neat thing about Zenith. Walmart wanted to sell Zenith, they couldn't.
They couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be somebody that ran a business that was the technician,
Sure.
and that was just magic. And they had what they called fair trade. Mm-hmm. So they'd say that set will sell for $448. That was probably their cheapest set, $448.80, and that's what you sell that set for. No less, no more. If you take a trade in, you can give them a certain amount, but you better, because they could shop you, and they did, from what I gathered. You never know. Somebody would come in and say, I would like to buy this, and what's the best price? I said, $448.80. How about if I got a trade in? How well does it run? Well, it doesn't run, it needs a picture tube. I can take it off your hands, but it's not worth fixing. Or I can give you $25 because I think I can fix it up and I can sell it for $100 or something. And if one of these is a Zenith person, he says that's once. The next time you're not a Zenith dealer. So
Wow.
they really kept that thing going so nobody could undercut you. And and then finally that quit.
Right.
Right after I sold the business, and it was all over. But I was noticing it was interesting to see how I was fixing most of the sets and selling some. Mm-hmm. And toward the end, I was fixing very little and selling a lot.
Right.
Because they would say, "Yeah, I think I'll buy a new set," kind of thing.
Right.
Kind of because it's going to be like $200 to fix, and an old set used to be like for a service call and tubes it was $25
Right.
for a $800 set, and all of a sudden it was $47.50 for a service call plus parts and
Sure.
stuff. A lot of times modules, which were expensive, and you start thinking, oh, do I want to put $150 in this set when I can buy one for something, $300 or something, or $250? They were heading downward to that spot where you couldn't do things in that way at all.
Are you happy that you were retired in '83 when you did?
When I look back, it was like I had a forest fire behind me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. Zenith went out of business 2 years later. They quit doing the fair trade. Everything went wrong. If I had stayed in business, I probably would still try to fix sets, but
Sure.
It wouldn't have been the same thing. I hit it at the peak.
Yeah.
The
You did.
50s to early 80s.
You
was
lived the
magic.
best years.
Yeah,
You lived the
by
best
far.
years.
They were fairly bulletproof compared. They were just shifting over from tube types to some hybrids, solid
Right.
state, which I thought was a bad thing. I hate the word hybrid. It's always you're putting the wrong things together, and with the TVs, it was the wrong
Sure.
things. But that ship was shifting quickly.
Yeah.
And so I saw a lot of changes up to the point of flat screens, and I thought, thank gosh, I missed that one, because they either run forever, hopefully, or you buy another one.
Right.
You just don't get somebody to repair them, period, ever.
Right.
And that's an interesting feeling.
Well, very good here.
You just hit the highlight of my life.
That's sad.
Isn't that sad? Well, no, I'm marrying my wife.
There we go.
This is in second place, I think.
Walt and I, we've been friends for long time.
You were about 8, I think, at
Yeah,
the time.
yeah, and I was selling vacuum cleaners.
Like crazy. And I had to watch it. I mean, this kid just drew me crazy. I'm watching him with this piece of rug at this garage sale at his grandmother's, I think. And he has a vacuum cleaner out there and he's showing how it works. And he throws a bunch of dirt on the carpet kind of thing. And he sells the thing. And I'm still standing there watching this. For some reason, I didn't say, oh, that was interesting. And he goes back in the garage and he pulls out another one. And finally, I got to see him. He had, I don't know, what, a couple of dozen of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I thought, this kid reminds me way too much of when I was 8.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah,
It's
30 years ago, probably, wasn't it?
Getting close. I think it was summer of '96.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have a celebration for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas. And you're not dreaming, Walt. This is 100% real.
I'm still worried about that.
I know.
If I wake up in the morning and this has been a long dream, I'm going to be really ticked.
If other things went back, then you'd be all right. But
I could handle that.
You could handle
yes,
that.
Uh-huh. I mean, this is a neat thing that you did. I mean, the whole thing with this. Yeah, I've had more fun with that tree. It was such a fun thing to keep. You know, it's a work in progress.
Sure.
I think I think I had a couple more things. I didn't have time to hang them on it because I've got little ornaments here and there on it. You know, little tiny, and the blue tinsel has got 3 speeds on it, kind of thing. So it was kind of neat that it. I almost forgot it. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm behind. I thought, well, I'll wait till Roz gets here and then I'll get the Christmas tree out.
Well, Christmas is in 2 days.
I know. Yeah. This would be November or something, and
Yeah.
I would be getting all this stuff out.
You've been looking for that watch for a while.
Oh, since probably 70. What was it?
77?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And every once in a while, something would come along. I would get a lot of LED watches, and thanks to you, I think a few times.
Oh,
That was as close as I was getting. That plus that thing from the Playboy, a full-page ad for the Uranus watch. Now there was a thought kind of thing that was similar.
Well, it's Christmas in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm actually driving over to my parents' house now. There's a tree that has fallen over their dirt road, but we're going to be celebrating Christmas in the coming days because my wife's not feeling well, and my dad hasn't been feeling well lately, so we're just going to celebrate it, you know, maybe next few days, something like that. But going over to cut a tree up. So yeah, this is a typical wet Pacific Northwest Christmas, but that's okay. According to my thermometer here in the 89 LeSabre, it's about 41 degrees outside. It's 2:15 in the afternoon, so I have approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes before sunset. Oh, Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
Let's go cut a tree up.
Okay, well, let's see. That one or that one. December 25th of 2024.
Well, there's a tree. I'm going to try to cut this thing up here a little bit.
Okay, let's go here. Well, there he is, starting to cut. It's kind of a long tree. Well, that's perfect for it right there. Wow. That is wonderful. Yeah, it's kind of so it's a wet one. It's a wet one.
Well, Merry Christmas, huh?
Yeah, Merry Christmas. All right, well we're going to close here. Anything you want to say, Nate?
Hope everyone's having a good Christmas out here, and maybe you got some snow.
Yeah, we don't know. You don't know. Okay, guys, have a good day.
So, thanks for watching, everyone. Happy 2025, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.